Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Couch Casual Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Diorio, with my lovely, beautiful baby co-host.
Robert Dylan Vasquez. What's up, guys?
A lot of big sports happened this weekend. We had the Super Bowl. We had UFC 312.
Beautiful.
And, a lot of similarities. There was a big beatdown in the main event, one-sided affair.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, go ahead.
We gotta make some, all the different cultural phenomenons. But we're here to talk about 312, and it was not the best pay-per-view of all time.
So, for those of you who caught the last episode, Kyle and I made an executive decision to call it the Dinky Down Under Part 2, alluding to the first time we called an Australian card the Dinky Down Under, because the level of card that they gave us
wasn't great.
One thing that I just want to rant on for a second, and it's not really a rant, I want to get your thoughts on this actually. Dana White is like, we are MMA, we are UFC, we are not boxing. When you come to a UFC event, the whole card is the meat and potatoes. We don't stack it top heavy like boxing. What was this card then? This card in particular.
Look, sometimes these cards end up popping off,
Sure.
I think the first Dinky Down Under in the post show, we said, oh, we were wrong. This one, not so much. It's not fair. Like, I get it. Like, I get what he's saying, because some cards are stacked from top to bottom, but you just can't always do that. I get. Like, it's not always going to work out that every pay-per-view is going to be a 10 out of 10 every fight on the. Sometimes it just schedules a line, and
true.
This is what you get.
Right.
It wasn't terrible.
No.
But it wasn't great. It was very much middle of the road, forgettable, mostly.
Not a standout card of the year.
No, we probably won't be talking about this one in December.
It depends on what both of the main event fighters do next. This will be like a prequel to what they do next.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
So, if you want to break right into it, you said it earlier, the fight of the night didn't even happen on the main card.
Or on the regular prelims.
It happened in the early prelims?
Early prelim. The early untelevised prelims. There was a fight of the night and performance of the night was on that. And there was a knockout of the night on the main card. We'll get to that in a moment.
Sure.
CCMMA new star that we claimed last week. But you ready to... Let's just start it off.
Sure.
Jake Matthews and Francisco Prado.
So you alluded that he looks like Drew Dober. Francisco does.
He looks so much like Drew Dober.
You guys have to see this guy. He looks exactly like Drew Dober.
It is Drew Dober to it. Like, it's literally Argentinian Drew Dober. Like,
foreign Drew Dober.
Uncanny.
So I messaged you, and I was like, "Is it too late to change my pick?" Because I ran across a video of Jake Matthews. That's who we both went with.
We both
right?
picked him. We both picked him.
I ran across this video. He doesn't peel his fruit. So I saw a video of him just munching into a banana, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Just snapped it to a full-ass banana, dude. That is wild behavior.
You can't do that, Jake. What are you doing, Jake?
That's some wild behavior. But you know what? He gets in a cage to fight for a living.
Sure, so he can do whatever he wants. I'm not telling him he can't.
No, I'm just saying some screws have to be loose.
A couple, a good couple.
Screws. He's eating peel and all. I bet he bites right into oranges, like just.
No,
this fight was not terrible. This fight was not bad, but it did seem a little one-sided in
the bigger guy. This was like a catchweight fight.
He was bigger. He was quicker.
The boxing was sharper.
he was clear, like it felt like a weird matchup, and I'm still curious as to was like this the original matchup, or was there somebody that was supposed to be in Prado's spot? I don't.
Right. So you have a guy who naturally fights at 155, and you casuals out there have watched enough shows to know, like, you don't just go in there at 155. You suck weight down, so when you go and enter the cage, you might be all of 170. Depends on how many, pounds you're cutting or how much weight you're cutting. Jake Matthews looked all of 190 pounds versus some guy who's 15 to 20 pounds less, and it looked like a one-sided affair.
Yeah, Prado was like, he's naturally a lightweight, which that makes sense, you know. But welterweight is what, 15 pounds above? It's like, I don't understand this matchup, and I don't know if Prado was like, I'm ready to move up, try something new.
Okay.
I don't fully understand, but it was a clear winner. Jake Matthews dominated the entire fight.
30-27.
We picked it right. We knew what was going to happen here. No shockers, nothing crazy. Yeah.
That's all I really have to say. Peel your fruit, dude. There's very few nutrients in the skin. Eat it separately. Whatever you got, cook it. You can peel the skin off a banana and cook it in a skillet.
Peel your fruit.
Peel it, bro.
Jake, please.
Peel it, dude. Peel it, Jake. Hashtag peel it, Jake.
Anyway, we're going on to the next fight.
Sure.
This is where we split. Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Beato, or Bellato, however they pronounce it on the show.
Right.
It wasn't looking good for me in round one. It was looking pretty bad. Jimmy Crute dropped him and beat his ass for 5 minutes.
10-8.
10-8 round. That's a tough comeback, right? Well, Bellato proceeds to win the next 2 rounds very cleanly,
decisively.
Not super close. It was very clear. Bellato.
Can I real quick give you props? Kyle came over. He sat on the sensational sectional in there.
The sensual sectional.
And he goes, he might have won these last 2 rounds. I'm calling draw. And a draw happens 100 or 1 in 150 fights. And I'm like, Kyle, I'm not undermining his opinion, but I'm just like, you sure it's a draw? Like, are we watching the same fight here? And we're talking, we're bullshitting. It's kind of like a fight companion.
Goofing off,
And he goes, no. I think this was a draw. Turns out it ends up being a fucking draw. And I gotta look over this guy's Joe Rogan or something. Like, he called something that we didn't see.
It's a draw, baby. It was a 10-8 in round 1, and then Bellato wins rounds 2 and 3.
I give my props to you. Yeah, fans booed.
I always boo a draw, but like draws are sometimes it's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Just like with Jan and Ankalaev years ago, everyone hated that, but it was the right call.
Yeah. For at that time,
you get one fighter having one really big round, and then the other fighter just somehow comes back from that and wins the next 2 normally.
Makes adjustments,
It's a weird situation. I'm sure the fighters aren't, I feel like to fight to a draw has to be the weirdest feeling ever.
It's like, what do you mean? I didn't win, but I didn't lose?
We're just back to the drawing board. You think they'll run this back? Like, what do you do for both of these fighters?
Which, can we just take a step back? Do you remember what Jake Matthews said in his post-fight interview?
Not really.
He goes, okay, I won 30-27, but honestly, this wasn't a win for me. I'm here to fight to the death with no time.
Kill these guys.
With no time limit. This isn't a win for me. Just because I beat this guy on scorecards doesn't mean I beat him. I'm like, all right, maybe you fought a guy that one weight class under you, maybe go a little harder if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can't talk shit. You beat a guy who was so clearly smaller than you, but you didn't get it done in the time. You're not fighting to the death.
This isn't a win for me. I fight to the death, and it's like, all right.
Not cringe, a little cringy.
All right, Celtic Warrior or whatever his name
Celtic
is.
Kid.
But to go back to this fight, if this fight had 2 more rounds, who knows what would have happened? Jimmy Crute came out really strong in the first round. I don't want to say slacked off, but you make adjustments. I don't really know how you would justify feeling bad about a draw.
And this is like a drop in competition, at least in UFC stand, like based on what Bellato has had previously one fight at the UFC. He's 1-0 in the UFC prior to Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
In Jimmy Crute's last 5 fights, can you guess what his win-loss record is?
His last 5?
This includes last night because it's interesting.
2-3-0. Oh no, 2-2-0. He's 50-50.
2-2-1.
2-2-1.
If you include last night, he is 0-3-2. He has 2 draws in his last 4 fights. Or his last 3 fights, he has 2 draws.
Come on, James. What are you doing?
Dude, he lost to Anthony Smith.
Lost.
He lost to Jamal Hill.
Lost.
He drawed.
Had a draw with
Curtis Minifield. Then lost to Curtis Minifield. And then he has a draw with this guy. This guy, you're fighting big names. Like the last few were big names.
Sure.
Jamal Hill, heavy or light heavyweight contender. Anthony Smith, perennial, always kind of near the top, but never quite good enough. Mm-hmm. Minifield, maybe not as big as the previous 2, but he's not no joke.
No joke.
Bellato. Jimmy Crute, you gotta do something. I don't know if Jimmy Crute lasts much longer.
You know what he needs? He needs a reality show.
Give him a reality show.
Not him himself. He needs to go on like a reality show. And I hope you know where I'm stealing this from. Jorge Masvidal did the same thing. He went on like a survival type island kind of show.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember all this.
Where he was
back.
It wasn't Naked and Afraid, but it was along the lines of like you have to set up camp, you have to survive, you have all these challenges and stuff. And he's like, I wonder why I'm going to all these split decisions and losing. I'm going to all these split decisions, and he's like, it's because I'm fighting these guys. I need to go out and I need to kill these mofos.
You gotta wake something up.
Comes back, has a rise like no other. You have to change your mentality of, okay, I won round 1, 10-8. You took your foot off the gas.
What if we had an Ultimate Fighter season with a bunch of guys who are very clearly about to get cut? Guys that are already in the UFC, but guys that are on the bubble for being cut. That'd be kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have so many guys,
and a lot of guys
in many different weight classes.
I bet you could fill one.
You could fill a house full of guys that are about to be cut.
One weight class.
Mm-hmm.
And that would awaken something in one of those guys would rise to the show. Obviously, somebody has to win the show, but one of those guys would probably that would have to light a fire on your ass. And if Jimmy Crute doesn't get that fire under his ass, I don't know what's gonna happen. Dude.
I like where your head's at television wise. How about we change it to event wise, where it's like
a tournament?
Well, when like a Shawn Michaels or Undertaker, and I like to allude to WWE sometimes just because they're under the same umbrella now. They're under TKO,
yeah.
Where it's like, if I win, you retire forever.
Dude, give me a loser's Grand Prix.
Give me if you win, I get cut. If I win, you get cut. Give me that kind of fight.
Now, it needs to be
make it open. Make it open. That way, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a very cruel idea. I really do.
But you put in two guys that are like, okay, I have to win this,
Or I'm getting cut.
Or I'm getting cut, and then obviously, you could if like two guys show out and do like go to fucking war for 3 rounds, and it's insane. You can keep them both. You don't have to cut them, but like, you see the one guy is just like doesn't seem like he's even putting in as much effort as the other guy. It's very clear. Dana, call us. We got great ideas.
Yeah, dude, 100%, Dana. We need to be on the board.
For real.
Dwayne, DJ, call us, man.
Let us know. So, draw. That was one of our pick'em fights, and it was a draw. So, we just need to get a point here, I guess.
Right.
All right, let's go on to our newest CCMMA prospect fighter.
Dude.
We picked him last week. We locked him in.
Dude.
No one else did.
No one else. Justin
Us here at CCMMA?
CCMMA called it. Hey, Kyle, pick up that phone. Because we just called it.
Hey, Dana. Call us.
Call us, Dana.
We know what we're talking about. We're not just casuals. We're casual experts.
We are the most expert casuals around.
Crazy.
And we sit on the casual couch or the sensational sectional, the sensual sectional, depending on who's there. If you were, for right now, to go to DraftKings.com/CCMMA, if you were to put your bet on T-Squared, Taliesin Teixeira, you would have called us fools for trying to put any couple bucks on a guy who is a debutante versus Justin Tafa. Oh, Justin Tafa's going to take his head off. Oh, he's...
Yeah, what the...
No, dude. What was it, Kyle? What was the result?
It was a 35-second knockout in round 1.
Look at this cat. I got him pulled up right now. Look at him, dude.
He walked straight into Justin Tafa, got him up against the cage, hit him in the face with a forearm, and it was over. He walked Justin Tafa, dude.
In the first minute.
Like that. I know Justin Tafa's not like, he's not a ranked fighter, he's not, but he's a UFC veteran. He's been here. This shouldn't have been like an easy fight for anybody.
Is it? Am I being gracious by saying under a minute? Do you have it pulled up? It was
35 seconds. It was 35 seconds in the round 1.
I have to DM this kid. I have to.
Dude, get him on the CCMMA podcast. Him, our boy Diego Lopez, 2 CCMMA prospects.
We talked about it on Saturday. Are we cutting Peyton Talbot?
We're not cutting Peyton.
We're not cutting Peyton. He's still here.
He's still here. He's still our boy. He's still young, you know.
Right. He's got a lot of growing to do.
He's got some growing to do. We're not cutting you yet. You lose again like that, you embarrass the boys like that.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. But yeah, there's really that's it. It was a 35-second knockout. We both picked him. We both locked in on T-Squared.
We really didn't know much about this cat, but something in our heads and in our hearts rode with him. Nothing against Justin Tafa. Nothing against Justin Tafa.
No, he'd murder us.
But us as in both of us.
Yeah, dude. He would murder you.
Whoa, dude! I was talking about the same time. Anyways, we rode with our head and with our hearts, and we got a great fighter out of it. So the contract will be coming. The extension. Sorry, the extension.
Yeah, we gave him a 1-fight tester contract, and you know what? He exceeded it
with flying colors.
So,
and I think honestly, this is a humble brag. I think he knew that was on the line.
Yeah, he knew that.
You have a UFC contract. You have sponsors. You have all this riding. In the back of his head, he's like, I only have 1 fight with these CCMMA guys.
That's the real.
I got to show out. I got to get that extension. And we're more than apprehensive when it comes to paying him.
Yeah, there's no pay, buddy.
We pay you in respect, dude. Come on.
We shout you out on this prestigious podcast, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Just like, Kendrick didn't get paid for his halftime performance. They don't get paid for that kind of publicity.
I feel like I need to be paid after sitting through that. Anyways, sorry. We're good, dude. We're good. We're staying on track.
Anyway.
Did we go on to the next one? Shout out to T Squared, dude. Talis and Teixeira.
Next one. Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy. This was a one-sided affair. And not the way everyone should have predicted it.
Sure.
It's one of these fights where it's like everyone should have seen this coming, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But no one did. Everyone tried to pick the new up-and-comer, me included.
The wrestler.
The wrestler. She got dominated.
Wrestling on a mat is different than wrestling in a cage. And I'm stealing words from Michael Bisping. If you can defend a double leg, you can get the underhook. They put you up against the cage. You're not getting a single. Zhang Weili did exactly what she needed to defend everything that Tatiana threw at her.
She did.
It's just not. Wrestling on a mat and in the cage is not the same. Tatiana looked stiff in the striking. Shot
one-dimensional.
Shot without setting anything up, beforehand. Even got kind of rocked a couple times, if not one, just rocked.
This was definitely there's levels to this game.
And that sucks because Tatiana comes in undefeated, 11-0, supposed to dog walk Zhang Weili in the wrestling, and it just doesn't pan out like that.
No. And I asked you, because of this performance, Zhang's been at the top for a while. I asked, where is she? Is she top 5 all-time women fighter? And I think she is.
I'd say we were trying to do the math on the Mount Rushmore Saturday. There's no way you don't.
She's at least 5. At least 5.
Sure.
You got Amanda. You got Ronda, as much as I hate to admit that. But she did dominate for a long period of time.
You have Valentina.
Those 3, I think, are clear. I think it's probably Nunes, Valentina, Ronda.
If you have to fight for the 4th, you have so many names. You have Rose, Zhang Weili, Joanna, the likes of like Holly Holm, Cyborg. You have a lot of women fighting for that 4th.
Yeah.
So it's like Zhang Weili, I think if she goes up to 125, solidifies her name there.
That would be if she beats Valentina, that would be a big, big deal.
Oh, it'd be a feather in her cap that no one else has.
No, except for Amanda.
Which she's number 1.
Yeah, like there's no. I don't think there's any passing Amanda, at least not for a long time. But yeah, I think Zhang Weili
good performance.
Definitely had a legacy fight Saturday night,
Go ahead.
The clear number 1 contender, the
Sure.
up and coming dominant wrestler, and just stopping her completely. I mean, Tatiana, I think she won round 1, maybe, but that was about it.
Was getting like swept and was getting like defended and then pieced up, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh no, this was supposed to be different. Shout out to Zhang Weili's English.
Yeah,
I've always told you that. She won her, I don't want to say she won her like first big fight, but it was one of her first like major victories. She goes, "My name is Zhang Weili. Remember me." Now it's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna win this next one, and like it's like
dude, she's learned,
100%. She knows that's what's gonna make her more so of a global superstar.
Yeah. Being able to communicate with more people is always going to be beneficial.
You have to play the game, and that's what I always tell these Brazilians. Now let me,
sir.
I tell it to all celebrities: Russian, Brazilian, anybody.
Two out of 3 of our fighters are Brazilian. I want you to know that.
And that is, dude. If you think that's not on me coming a long way,
you've come a long way. That's for sure. I'll give you that.
Come on, man. No, I think it's very important to try to expand your I don't want to say horizon, but just expand your global reach as much as you can.
Sure, yeah.
And
Definitely.
if English is the way to go, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, UFC is a English dominated market. Well, not dominated, definitely heavily English market.
Sure, sure.
So it's going to be beneficial no matter what.
Most of their fights take place in the States. Their big
Yes.
cards, are overseas, but you have like they're in the O2 Arena in Europe or England rather. It's like
In Australia.
speak English there. They speak English
Yeah.
in Australia. As hard as it is to understand them, they speak English in Australia. New Zealand. That being said, I'm very proud of Zhang Weili. I called that. I didn't get the decision right. I thought it was going to be like some kind of cut. Tatiana was kind of bruised up.
Straight up domination, man.
Did you see her leg?
No.
If that, dude, we were talking
about the cut. You talking about the cut? Yeah.
Trampoline burn.
That knee cut was deep. Like it was kind of gross.
If it would have been right here, that fight would have, because it was gapped. It was, dude. It was like, a big knee cut. I wish I would have pulled that up.
It's a bad cut. I don't really even know what caused it.
Just shooting for your life and then catching the wrong angle and just ripping that skin, dude. Yeah.
Meat open, dude.
Yup.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
A lot of blood on that knee. Not as much blood as this next fight.
No, this next fight, it didn't get bloody until near the end, but it got bloody.
Are you done with this co-main?
Yeah, I think we're done. Zhang Weili, shout out to her. Hopefully she gets the Valentina fight next.
She's not scared.
Moving on.
She's not scared.
She's not scared. I think that's who she wanted, and Valentina couldn't take it. She was like, I don't want to fight later in the year. I want to fight now.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's move. You know,
we'll see.
I think that's what we get. We get that next. Does that main event a card?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
What if you main event that, and then like have a 5-round co-main with just some kind of like a Dustin Poirier and somebody else fight, like not a title fight, but just like a good fight.
By the way, side note, to be determined. Paddy Pimblett has a fight signed 10 weeks out to opponent to be determined. Announcement wise.
I keep seeing so many different people in the name for the Paddy one. We've seen Dustin. We've seen Michael Chandler. I don't know who it is. The Michael Chandler one makes more sense to me. Dustin one doesn't make a lot of sense for Dustin.
Michael Chandler's going to fight Arman Tsarukyan.
Oh, no.
Dude, he doesn't come out of the top 5. It's... Regardless, I just wanted to throw that in. We're on to the main event.
Woo! Sean Strickland is not the man he wants you to think he is when he's talking. He talks a big game. We're going to war. You and me, we're going to war.
To the death.
You're really hyped.
To the death.
And then he puts on the most boring fights. I said this a year ago. I think if you go back to some of our older shows, I've been saying Sean's a boring fighter for a long time.
You have this way before I did. But on the pre-show, the reason I went with DDP is because I said that Sean Strickland was all just a jab and a teep.
That's all he does.
Dean Thomas came out and exposed Sean. Spoiler alert, Sean Strickland lost.
Very one-sided.
Very
Sean didn't win a round.
God dang.
Like, Sean just got his ass beat for 5 rounds.
It was embarrassing.
It wasn't even entertaining because, like, he doesn't put up much effort. Or, I'm not going to say effort, but he doesn't do much in this fight. DDP is, like, throwing all his crazy DDP shit. You know,
switching stances.
Just, DDP is going to come at you 200%. He is going to just overwhelm you. He's not afraid to just walk at you. And, it's crazy.
It is crazy. It's very crazy that Dean Thomas comes out and he's like, Sean Strickland's not the guy that he says he is. We have to start holding him accountable. And then he got his nose broke, which I'm about to pull that up in a second.
It's bad.
It's very bad, and I'll tell you when I pull it up. But he's not the guy he claims to be. And I wanna ask you, what do you think that is? Because we kind of alluded on it last week of, well, he's not in there sparring Sneeko. He's in there with the best of the best of the best, sir. And that could have something to do with it. My personal opinion is he spars too much, and he's
possible, yeah.
And he by the time he gets to camp, he loses that killer mentality because he's already gotten it out of his system in sparring. Go ahead.
Spars. That's like his 90% of his training is sparring.
Sure.
Which, a lot of people said that was the reason he was so game for Israel, was because he spars so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know which one it is. His style never changes in the cage. Like, he stands, he's got his Philly shell, and he's just going to jab, and he's going to throw that front kick, and that's literally all he did Saturday night. That is all he did. He occasionally will throw this kind of like really looping hook. But man, like, DDP is just so unorthodox. I don't know what you do to stop DDP.
There weren't that many takedowns this fight, right?
I don't know. There might have been one. I don't even. Let me go. I can pull that up.
Which Sean Strickland's like, yeah, don't wrestle fuck me. Don't take me down. Let's stand like men. DDP goes, well, lions don't take the opinion of sheep. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then still kind of stands with Sean.
He does.
Batters him up, dude.
DDP for 2 takedowns and got 1. So nothing crazy at all.
Out of 25 minutes, that's nothing.
He landed 149 total strikes to Sean's 128. Man. Those kind of even sound close, but watching the fight, it wasn't close.
Looking at DDP's face at the end of the fight versus what we're about to show you.
So let's set it up, because I think it was round 4. It was around 4 or 3. It's a little bit later into the fight when this happens. They're doing their thing. DDP's throwing his crazy shit and random shots and hitting, and he's walking him back. And then randomly later into the fight, there was a shot that hits Sean. And to me, like, watching it live, it looks like a glancing blow in a way. It didn't look like something like that would have hurt him. But Sean very clearly takes a step back and is in pain and starts grabbing his nose. And then the blood works just open up. Like, just so much blood. And they showed the replay, and it's like the hook really just hits his nose and just destroys his nose.
We're going to show you. Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion. This is a gnarly picture. Yeah, go ahead. Throw it.
All right, I'm throwing it up right now. Jesus Christ.
It's so...
He looks worried.
Bad.
He looks worried.
Like, yeah, that entire round, for the rest of the round, he was, like, very clearly in pain and grabbing at his nose. And, oh, man. It was brutal.
Blood was everywhere.
Yeah, like, this really just goes to show it was... Sean got messed up in that fight. Yeah.
It was... I'm glad I called it with DDP instead of going the other way with Sean, because Sean, he's helped me before in my parlay, my white trash parlay. I told you, I was sitting in Springfield, Missouri, watching the Izzy fight, like, oh shit, he's gonna do this. I had no moments of that with DDP.
Yeah, dude, DDP is he's a legit anomaly when it comes to the UFC. Like,
yes.
He is like, and everyone's picking up on it now. We've been saying it for a long time. He is the sloppiest, the most unskilled looking fighter, but he's constantly moving and he's constantly coming at you and he can take shots well and he doesn't get too hurt. And he's just like a freak of nature. It's almost like he has this like God-given physical attributes and he's like, I don't need to train. Let me go try this UFC thing out. Let's see what happens. And he just walks people down.
And you and I, we both know he does train his ass off.
He does.
But when it gets to a point where looping shots are coming from unknown places, he ducks his head so far down where, like, if he doesn't hit the shot, he's right in for a takedown. It's just it's a problem. It's a problem.
It's problematic, dude. He's something else, and like, dude is like, he's never lost in the UFC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
straight
9-0
wins
in the UFC. Tons of finishes. He's only had 2 decisions. Or he's had 3. 2 of them are against Sean. So I guess shout out to Sean for that.
That wasn't just a decision. That was a shutout decision.
That last one was. The first one, there was controversy, but
arguably Sean won that one. But this time, you have to leave it all on the line, and he froze. There was no ferocity in Sean Strickland.
His coaches are like, you gotta do something. You have to go.
You're down 4-0. No,
he never pushed it.
He got exposed.
Crazy.
He got exposed.
Yeah.
He's losing his aura as we speak.
What's next for Drikas? Is it Imavov? Is it Chimaev?
I'll tell you what's next for Drikas. Do you know what he called for?
Oh yeah, he wants Alex.
Yes. But do you know what he called for specifically? Because he goes, is there no one left? Is there no one left? And he looks Alex in the eyes. But he called for something very specific in the post-fight.
For him to come down?
What? He wants the Izzy rematch. Izzy versus Sean. And he wants it to main event a fight night. He's turning straight heel. He's like, you know what needs to happen? Dude, he goes, you know what needs to happen? Izzy, or the Izzy rematch. And everybody's like, huh? And he's like, yeah, Izzy versus Sean. And he's the main event of fight night. Like,
Drikas is something else.
Game over, dude.
Something else.
So, what's next? Obviously, it's probably Alex. What they're gonna do is Hamzat, wherever in the world that he is, wherever he can fight, if he can even fight in the States, which
I can't keep up with all that stuff.
Visas and whatever policies. Yeah, I think it might be Hamzat. I don't think the Hamzat fight is as easy as a fight as real casuals would say it is. I think that Hamzat has a very tough time with DDP.
Yeah, that would be a banger. It'd be
a surprise.
It would be a good fight. Chimaev is not going to walk through DDP.
No.
But does DDP survive the long haul? Does Chimaev survive the long haul?
The long haul. Does DDP survive the long haul of what? 2 rounds?
Yeah, you got to. So you survive in the long haul. Chimaev is explosive and is crazy in the first 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds. I don't see this. The guy is not going to last in 4 and 5.
No.
And so if you survive 2 rounds, can win 3, you're probably winning 4 and 5 against.
What does Chimaev do? What does he do against DDP? Does he outstrike him? He doesn't
outstrike him.
He has very powerful strike. We thought the same thing on Izzy. We thought the same thing on Till. We thought the same thing on Sean Strickland.
There's no really predicting a DDP fight.
You can't. It's the lottery.
It's like, what's going to happen? We don't know. DDP's going to throw a bunch of random shit at you, and can you survive? Maybe not. Probably not. So far, not.
So far, not. What's next for him? It's either Chimaev or if Alex gets through Ankalaev, I want Alex to go up. I don't want him to be messing with these middleweights. I don't want him to... Because what he can't do is let DDP become double champ.
No.
There's no DDP slander here, but I have to put it into it. I have to.
DDP.
We have to stop this.
Crazy.
We have to stop this right now.
That would be crazy.
Anybody, everyone, come on, watch tape.
Stop this man. This
watch
dude's
some.
a menace.
He can't keep getting away with this.
That's exactly what it feels like. The dude's insane.
Very good. He's so good. DDP is so good, but he is the best, worst fighter I've ever seen in my life.
All time.
Of all time.
It's crazy, dude.
That was our experience with UFC 312. In the horizon, you have 313.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to try to encapsulate as a whole with 312 itself?
It was a card. It was a card.
Yes, indeed it was a card.
It was a card of all time,
It was a card of all time and to mediocre proportions, but it was a card.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good.
I'm glad I didn't pay for it. Shut up. Pam, 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 pam.
It's fair. 313, however, strap your boots in. This one could be...
Ooh.
Entertainment is ready. The entertainment is back, I believe, with this one.
Readily available?
Readily available. The co-main event could be a fight of the year candidate.
You were talking to me about it earlier, and you got me goosebumps going. So
I'm ready, dude. Co-main event's going to be fire. We're not going to talk about it yet. That's for the next show.
Of course.
So you got to tune in. If you don't want to Google and find out what the co-main event is, don't. Just wait for us to tell you next, couple weeks.
Also, Kyle and I speak for myself. I'm not trying to speak for Kyle. Kyle and I hold ourselves accountable for a certain amount of viewership, a certain amount of connection with our friends and our fans. I think it's time we turn that on just a little bit to the people that are watching.
Okay.
When we say like, comment, and subscribe,
God.
You don't have to do all three of them at once.
Just do one of them.
Just do one of them. Share
something.
It costs nothing.
Like, comment, type in gibberish.
Asterisks, fucking blah, 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 blah. Jay, you always do a very good job. Dustin Poirier.
Somebody say something.
Something. If you have critiques with lighting, sound, content, give us something to grow on.
You hate us as people?
Oh, that's even better. That's even better, dude.
Let us know.
Other than that, stay casual. Stay who you are.
Love you all.
We love you all, dude. Shout out to our newly signed, extended contracted fighter, T-Squared.
Allison Teixeira.
Pam, 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 pam.
Is he related to Glover?
Who knows? They're all a bunch of...
Yo, wow, watch it.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't. You almost did.
I almost did. And almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But I think that's about it, dude. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's it. On to the next one.
On to UFC 312. We will see you then, as always. Signing off. We love you.
Bye-bye.